You're listening to the Best Advice Podcast, guys. If you haven't already, give us a 5-star review and help spread the word. And if you have a question for the guys, email a voice recording to podcast@bestadvicepodcastguys.com. That's podcast@bestadvicepodcastguys.com. Today's episode is brought to you by Security Financial Management. If you're ready to level up your financial game, SFM offers a free initial consultation after each episode. Just send an email to podcast@bestadvicepodcastguys.com with the subject line complimentary consultation to book yours today.
Oh, welcome back to the Best Advice Podcast, guys. I'm your host, Rob Lovaglio, here as always with Mitch Watt, Frank Lovaglio, and Austin Jackson, a.k.a. the Vets. Gentlemen, what's crack-a-lackin'?
What's crack-a-lackin'?
Let's crack-a-lackin', Mitch.
Let's crack-a-lackin'.
I like it. So we start off each episode with the powerful practice of positive thinking with the segment, Give Me Something Good. So Vets, give me something good.
Give me all you got!
Something good.
Gotta shout out my SFM teammates, Mitch, Allen, and Trevor in the truck. Val just passed some pretty difficult tests. Mitch passed the CFP, good designation in this industry. And then Trevor, our young teammate, just passed Series 66 to complete his licenses. So proud of that guy. Truck through it as always. Go Truck.
Yeah, he's the best of both those guys. Just a second, Austin. CFP's tough. It's a real tough exam. Mitch did a great job passing on the first round. And we always call Trevor the truck because everything he does, he just takes and just runs over the project. And then he trucks over. I can't do that noise twice.
No, that's good. No, the CFP is extremely difficult, long process. And for Trevor to come in, I think I saw him and he said he took the test and finished it and passed it in 58 miles. So he's pretty good. He trucked through that just like he does with everything else.
It's full opposite for me. I passed. Don't get me wrong, but it took a very, very long time. I was always the kid in high school. It's like, I'm smart. I'm just not a good test taker, which is ridiculous.
That's like saying I'm a great athlete, but I just can't perform when I play.
It's like, I swear I'm smart. Just the time where I get tested on how intelligent I am.
Yeah, it doesn't work well.
And you get tested on what you remembered and what you actually learned from everything. That's what I'm not good at. That just makes no sense.
An oxymoron.
Yeah.
It's a good thing we have Mitch and Trevor.
That's right.
Alrighty, let's get to some finance with the question of the day. Today's question comes from Kent from Atlanta, Georgia. Kent, what you got for us?
You want to say something?
Hey guys, just curious, what's the best age to take Social Security? What's the upside of delaying the received benefits? Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Kent. I'm going to give you a quick overview of Social Security. It's been a hot topic, and I'm going to pass it to the experts per usual for the strategy size of this. But Social Security benefits are calculated based on your earnings over your lifetime, right? It takes a section or a portion of your lifetime. This portion is the time of your life where you've made the most, where your income was the highest, right? And this monthly average is then indexed for inflation and then thrown into Social Security's formula that calculates or pushes out a number. And this number is going to be called your primary insurance amount. Now, your primary insurance amount is the amount you receive if you claim benefits at full retirement age. Now, this is where the strategy comes in. The sooner you start taking the benefits of Social Security, the less of that primary insurance amount you will receive. For example, your full retirement age is 67. So if you wait to 67 to get your benefits, you're going to get 100% of that calculated primary insurance amount, right? But if you take it earlier, you're going to get less than 100%. Now, if you wait till 70, then you're going to actually get above 100% of your primary insurance amount.
I just wanted to touch on the point of taking it early versus actually waiting past your retirement age, which I think right now is currently at 67 is full retirement, but you can take it at 62. You do give up a lot of benefits. If you start at 62, it's 70%. And if you wait until you're 70, it's 124. There's different, I'm just going to give an example. Frank and Austin are really going to get a little more details, but an example, if your full benefit payment at age 67 is $1,800, if you start early at age 62, it's down to $1,260. If you wait later and take your full benefit at age 70, it goes up to $2,232. So almost $1,000 difference than waiting. So you got to see what the crossover line is. We're going to talk about that as we go forward.
And that's $1,000 more a month.
$1,000 a month. Yes. It's $1,000 a month, so $12,000 a year almost. And that's according to AARP right now and socialsecurity.gov. So just an example. Everybody's different. What they make is different. It's based on your work history, when you start to take it. So there's a lot of factors.
And there's no perfect answer, right? So we do all, our firm is primarily a planning firm besides investment management. We want to do the planning on the front side. And when we look at all three of us do analysis for clients, there's no perfect answer. So if you're not in good health and you don't see longevity, you may want to take it at 62, if you're in good health. And here's another example. You gave a great example. Right now, I was reading the last couple of days, preparation for this on some facts, and $4,873 is the most that you can take for Social Security. And that's if you take it at age 70 in 2024. But the antithesis of that is $2,700 if you take it at 62. So like your example, a little more drastic because it's the max, $2,700 versus $4,800. That's a big difference in income. So if your health isn't good, you might want to take it early. But if your health is good, maybe you have two breadwinners. So if it's a husband and a wife, sometimes it's better to let the less or of the two earners take it first, and then delay the higher earner to 70, and that way you can get as much juice from the plan as you can. What do you think, Austin?
No, that makes sense. I think it's all kind of circumstantial to your individual situation, right? If you have enough money to supplement that income while you wait to get the higher benefit, then by all means, go ahead and wait, get the higher benefit later. So you can turn that on, take from, retirement accounts. And then, once that Social Security kicks in, then you can turn that income off and then use the Social Security. I think the break-even age for taking at 62, the earliest versus full retirement age 67, is about age 79. So it kind of depends on, do you want access to those dollars that you worked hard to earn earlier? Or you have more energy and health maybe, but it's all kind of dependent on your individual situation and if you're able to supplement.
And the way you beat him is just live to 100. That way you get that. 79 is the break even in some examples. So if you live to 100, you've got 21 years on the dole, that way. And just one other quick thing. When people ask, where does it get funded from? Just kind of a logistic question on it. So, every time if you're working for someone else, every time that you get a paycheck, 6.2% of that check is funding Social Security and 1.45% is funding Medicare. So eventually when you turn 65, that's 7.65 coming out of your check, and the employer matches 7.65. So think about 15% of every paycheck is going to fund primarily Social Security with some Medicare in there. So a lot of your money's going in. It's, kind of in a fun way. We were laughing and saying, as Social Security is not really that greatly funded. If you really look at call it the escrow account of Social Security, there's not an abundance of extra there. So really money flies in, and then 15% comes out of all our paychecks, and it's sort of going to the older guys. So, guys like Austin Jacks and Robert in their 30s, let's get crack-a-lackin' and get your ass to work.
Right. Talking about funding, one of the biggest issues was the government was pretty smart in 1935 when they started Social Security. They thought no one would ever get paid.
That's right.
Because in 1935, FDR was president. He started Social Security.
What was the mortality of that?
The life. So remember, 62 is the minimum, 70. In 1935, the life expectancy for men was 61 years old.
Right.
And women was 65.
So they were going to pay for a year to take back.
Well, for men, they were never going to pay it.
Right. That's right.
And they died before, and women, 65.
They got a few years, maybe.
If they took it at 62. But they probably didn't, because back in 1935, most women did not work. So they did not put any money in. And as you know, you need a bunch of quarters. And they look at your work history, which is about 10 years of your best years. They didn't even work, because back then, women were really not working. So the government thought they had it all beat, but now the life expectancy has gone up so much more.
Yeah. The China egg is now reachable.
Exactly.
So by the time Rob and I retire, full retirement age would be about 80.
Yeah, the 80 of that through.
But with that, as Austin talked about earlier, Frank, it's different from. We're not sure where and what age is right, just sitting here. But right now, we have access, believe it or not, there are 12 different calculating programs that we can put your information into and find out exactly what probably is a good age for you to start, give you all the options. There's a benefits for your spouse calculation. There's a life expectancy calculator, an online calculator, quick calculator.
Right.
It tells you all that information. But there's the retirement age calculator, the windfall elimination provision calculator. You're sitting there going, what's that?
Yeah.
That's what we do.
That's right.
We can help you with that. There's the GPO calculator, which is the government pension offset. There are so many things. Then the detailed calculator we get from the government as well. So there's an earning test calculator, an early late calculator. My point is, right, there's a lot that goes into when do I take Social Security? That's what we do. We have access to all of this information.
Right.
We work with it. You call us, come in, you see us. This is a very important decision for many people. Once you're retired and you're not going to have income, you need to know what will be my best decision.
Right.
And just from what I was saying here, there are 12 different programs that we have access to try to help you make an informed decision. If you have good information, you usually can make pretty good informed decision. If you don't have good information and don't know all of the information out there, you might make a mistake.
And that just goes to, part of last segment we were talking about distributions, right? The biggest, you can accumulate wealth, and that's our job to help you get there. But when it comes right down to it, most retirees are like, all right, how do I convert my wealth to income? And so Social Security is such an important part, hence all the calculators we can help you kind of drive through, because getting a cash flow is one of the most important things for retirement. And we talked about Roth IRAs, just to give them a plug too. If you can, put money in a Roth 401k, if you're a high wage earner, you might not be able to do it in a regular Roth. You can put it in a Roth 401k and then you can move that out into, because stream of income is one of the most important things that will decide if you have a fun retirement or not. You can have all the wealth in the world, but if you can't get access to it, it's, you're not going to have a good lifestyle in retirement. So Social Security, great supplement. We also encourage, of course, make sure you get wealth in lots of other buckets, because, depending on your lifestyle, $1,500, $2,000 won't be enough. And so you got to make sure you have other buckets. The Roth IRA is a great tool as well.
And that's tax free.
That's right. That's distribution tax free.
And especially younger people putting money in, that's going to grow for you very
tax free and tax free withdrawal.
The tax free.
So managing that cash flow out becomes super important.
Yeah, and that's all part of the planning piece that you look at is what are your income sources? Social Security being one of them, and then what other buckets do we have to draw from to make sure that you're meeting your lifestyle expectations?
Why don't you get a job, Piccoli? What for? You need money. All I need are some tasty waves, cool buzz, and I'm fine.
Per usual, let's get a market update with Mitch with a Minute with Mitch.
1 minute with Mitch.
Thank you, Rob. Yes, a minute with Mitch. We have had quite a week last week. This is today, April 16th. So,
Day after tax day.
Day after tax day. Isn't that great? I'm glad and not as glad as CPAs, because they work very hard and I'm sure they're wiped out. I can't get them today.
What's that tax independence day? Have you read that, Mitch, in Austin, where you work so many days in the year and then there's a day where now you're working for yourself?
It might be like
May, I get to May or June.
Yeah, May or June. Just you work a whole lot before it's
yours.
Yeah. But that goes back to Social Security. Yeah,
that's right.
Anyway, we had a very tough week last week, and a lot of it was actually the CPI number came out better than expected. So that really spooked the market a little, because everybody's expecting those big rate cuts from the Fed. But as long as the CPI number is still hot, they're probably going to hold off. We don't know. I think it's now dropped down to a 22% chance that in June they'll lower it. It was as high as like 80% a few months ago.
Big change.
Yeah, now down to 22%. And then, of course, we had the attack on Israel on Friday. That caused the market to drop down. Not as bad as it could have. It was down, on average around 1.2% from the different indexes.
Not bad.
Not bad according to.
Hopefully they minimize, nobody, what their response will be. Hopefully there's, cool heads will prevail.
We hope that
in this market.
But the good news and the real surprising news to that is oil did not skyrocket. Whenever there's a conflict, usually has been a conflict in the Middle East, oil goes off the charts. We've actually had some dips in the price of oil. So that is at least a good sign right now. We're not sure what's going to happen going forward. Yesterday, on April 15th, the futures were up very nicely. Then
it gave back.
It gave back because Israel's response was, we're probably going to do something. Market didn't like that. This morning, however, some of the futures were up a little bit and the others were completely flat. No one knows what's going to happen. As always, we talk about caution. Make sure that your risk tolerance is where you need to be. And that's where it is. With that, though, the bond market is responding by rates really going up. A few months ago, the 10-year treasury was in the high threes.
Right.
And then in October, I think it hit 5 and then it dropped again. Right now, as of this morning, April 15th, April 16th, according to Bloomberg, it's 4.66%. The inverted yield curves, which are now going back, I believe, to August of 2022, a very, very long time, they are still there. They started to drop back down. The short-term rates were starting to finally come down. But now they've inverted. They're still inverted and going higher. The 3-month is up to 5.35. The 6-month is now past the 3-month for the first time in a while, 5.36. The 1 year is still paying 5.19. A few weeks ago, it was in the high 4s, about 4.93. And the 2 year is now 4.95. So the short-term rates are still extremely high right now. The only good thing is if you're on fixed income, you look at income, money markets are still there, bonds are still high, right. But it would be better in the end if the Fed didn't drop those interest rates, normalize things, because one of our biggest issues in this country is housing. We are millions and millions of homes short. Rent is off the charts for people. Home pricing is at reach for a lot of people. And with the interest rates where they are today, we do have a housing issue for most people. So that's a quick minute with Mitch. We touched a lot of little areas and topics, but that's where we are. Thanks.
4 minutes with Mitch.
I love the numbers that just come out. Your brains. All right, everyone. As you know, the secret to success is not what you earn, it's what you keep. Happy days, everybody.
This podcast is for entertainment and educational purposes only and is not intended as personal financial advice. Before making any financial decision, please do your own research and consult a financial advisor as needed. If you have a question for the guys, email podcast@bestadvicepodcastguys.com.